Sometimes the biggest message in your life doesn't come in a dream or a miracle. It comes as a quiet thought in your heart, a thought you keep ignoring. That small push you feel, that tiny voice telling you, start today. That sudden heaviness when you delay, it's not random, it's a sign, a reminder, a gentle call that your entire life can change from one small step you take right now. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to become perfect. You just need to move a little, because the moment you take that step, help, mercy, and openings you never imagined will start running toward you. Stay with me till the end, because one of the small steps I'm about to share might be the exact one that your soul has been waiting for. The step your heart has been carrying for too long. There is a step inside your heart that has been waiting for you, not for days, not for weeks, but for months, maybe even years. A step you think about whenever you're alone. A step that returns to your mind when you feel guilty, when you feel lost, when you lie awake at night wondering, when will my life finally change? You know exactly what that step is. It's the habit you wanted to fix, the prayer you've been missing, the apology you've been avoiding, the relationship you need to cut, the dream you keep burying, the healing you've been postponing, or the good deed you always say you'll start tomorrow. Every time you remember it, something stirs deep inside you. Your chest feels tight. Your heart becomes restless because your soul knows the truth. You cannot move to your next chapter until you take this step in the current one. You don't lack ability. You don't lack knowledge. You don't lack opportunity. You only lack the courage to begin. And courage doesn't come from feeling ready. Courage comes from taking the first step before you feel ready. Think back to all the times you told yourself, I'll start when things calm down. I'll start when I feel motivated. I'll start when I'm in a better place. But my brothers and sisters, life never becomes perfectly calm. Motivation doesn't magically appear. And waiting for a better moment is just another way of delaying your own growth. Every time you delay this step, your heart becomes a little heavier. Your soul becomes a little quieter. Your journey becomes a little harder. Because deep down you know you were meant to take this step long ago. But here's the beauty. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not hopeless. You are exactly where you need to be for your story to begin. And that first step, it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be today. When one small step unlocks a flood of hidden help, my brothers and sisters, there comes a moment in your life when the smallest action you take creates a wave of blessings far bigger than the effort you made. A moment when you realize that your journey was never about strength. It was about willingness. Not about perfection, but about sincerity. That one step, the tiny one you keep underestimating, has the power to break barriers you thought were impossible. You think it's small because you see it from the outside, but the unseen world moves differently. In the unseen world, a small step taken with sincerity is heavier than mountains because it shifts your heart, your habits, and your direction. Think of the times you felt stuck, where you tried to change everything at once, only to collapse under the weight of your own expectations. And then think of the rare moments where you changed just one thing, and suddenly your entire life felt different. Your mind became clearer, your heart felt lighter, your days started to make sense again. That's because real transformation doesn't begin with big actions. It begins with the first step toward what is right. When you take that step, even the smallest one, doors you didn't know existed begin to open. Opportunities start appearing in unusual places. comfort begins to settle into your heart. People you need are guided toward you. People who harm your peace are quietly removed. And the path ahead, which once felt dark and confusing, starts to glow in ways you cannot explain. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is not just life. This is the response to your sincerity. Because when you move even a little toward goodness, forces you cannot see begin to move with you. Your courage grows. Your resilience rises. Your mindset shifts. And suddenly the things you once feared begin to lose their power over you. That one step you take becomes a message to your entire existence. I am ready to change. I am ready to grow. I am ready to walk toward light. And the moment your heart declares that message, a flood of hidden help begins pouring into your life. Help you didn't earn, help you didn't expect, help you didn't even know you needed. But here's the secret most people don't understand. The help does not come before you take the step. It comes after, because the step is the proof of your sincerity. And the sincerity is always answered. My brothers and sisters, you are one small step away from a completely different version of your life. A version where your heart breathes easier, your mind rests clearer, and your path feels guided instead of lonely. Take that step and watch how your world begins to shift. The weight you carry is a sign that you're meant for more. My brothers and sisters, there is a heaviness that visits your heart every time you delay the step you know you must take. And this heaviness is not a punishment or a sign of failure. It is a reminder, a silent message that you are living below the potential written for you. The discomfort you feel in your chest when you ignore the pull toward goodness is the soul trying to guide you back to where you belong. You carry this weight not because you are weak, but because you are capable of rising higher than where you are right now. And every time you stay in the same place, your heart knows you were meant to move. You may think that this heaviness is a sign that you're failing, but in truth, it is proof that your heart is still alive. Hearts that are spiritually dead do not feel anything when they drift far from what is right. Only a heart that still desires light feels uneasy in darkness. Only a soul that still longs for growth feels restless when you stop moving. Only a believer whose roots go deep feels the discomfort of staying stagnant when life is pushing them to evolve. This weight grows stronger every time you silence your conscience, every time you promise yourself you will change soon, every time you feel the spark of motivation but let fear put it out. Every time you postpone the small step that could have opened a door for you, the heaviness does not come to break you, it comes to wake you. It reminds you that the longer you stay still, the harder it becomes to move, and the harder it becomes to hear the gentle whispers that once guided you. And yet, this same weight becomes lighter the moment you take action. You will notice that the heaviness in your chest begins to ease the second you make a sincere decision to change something, even if the change is small. The moment you commit to taking that step, your energy shifts, your hope expands, your confusion slowly clears, and the burden that once felt immovable becomes something you can finally carry. This is because the heaviness was never meant to crush you, it was meant to redirect you. Think of every moment in your life when you ignored a warning, a thought, a sign, or a feeling, and look at the consequences that followed. They didn't come to punish you, they came to teach you that your heart was right from the very beginning. Every difficult situation that pushed you to grow, every disappointment that forced you to reflect, every test that made you reconsider your path, all carried the same message: you can't stay where you are. You are meant to move forward. The weight on your heart is not the enemy, it is a messenger. It is telling you that the life you're living is too small for the person you are capable of becoming. It is telling you that you have reached a point where remaining the same is more painful than rising higher. It is telling you that the small step you have been delaying is no longer optional. It is necessary for your growth, your peace, and your future. You must understand something very important. The heaviness will not disappear by itself. It will not fade with time. It will not soften simply because you wish it would. It will remain until you do the one thing it keeps calling you to do, until you take the small step that feels uncomfortable but leads to relief, clarity, and strength. The moment you take that step, you will realize that the weight was guiding you, not suffocating you. My brothers and sisters, your heaviness is a sign that you are close to a breakthrough. It means you are standing on the edge of a new chapter, one that will only begin when you choose to walk forward. And when you finally take that step, you will look back and understand that the weight you once hated was the very thing that pushed you toward your greatest transformation. The unknown blessings waiting on the other side of your first step. There is a reality you may not have fully understood yet. The blessings meant for you are not hiding because life is unfair or because destiny is cruel. They are simply positioned one step ahead of where you are standing right now, and until you move, those blessings remain beyond your reach. Life does not withhold goodness from you out of punishment or harshness. It withholds it because certain doors only open for those who choose to walk toward them. And as long as you remain still, your doors remain closed, your opportunities remain paused, and your relief remains waiting patiently for you to take the step that will unlock everything written for you. It is easy to assume that the blessings you want will somehow arrive while you remain in the comfort of your old habits, routines, and mindset. But my brothers and sisters, the truth is that many of the gifts meant for you are connected to the journey, not the place where you are standing now. Some blessings are not meant to come to you, you are meant to walk toward them. They are positioned in the next chapter of your life, and you cannot receive next chapter blessings while holding on to first chapter comfort. Think about every time in your life when you finally made a decision you had been avoiding. The moment you acted, your world shifted. New people entered your life, old burdens left, unexpected guidance reached you, clarity replaced confusion, what felt impossible suddenly became manageable. This pattern did not happen by luck, it happened because movement creates openings and sincerity creates pathways that did not exist moments before. There are blessings right now that are literally waiting for you to decide. They are written with your name on them, sealed in your destiny, reserved for your journey, not your hesitation. Relief that will only come after you let go of what hurts you. Opportunities that will appear only after you leave certain spaces. Peace that will unfold only after you make that one uncomfortable but necessary decision. Growth that will happen only when you challenge the limits you set on yourself. You are not waiting for blessings. Your blessings are waiting for you. Many people underestimate how deeply the unseen world responds to the smallest action. You may think your step is insignificant, but in the unseen realm, that step is a declaration. I am choosing to grow. I am choosing sincerity. I am choosing a better version of myself. And the moment that declaration is made, assistance arrives in ways you could never design yourself. You are strengthened in ways you didn't expect. Your heart becomes more stable. Your mind becomes clearer. The weight you carried begins to dissolve, and the darkness that surrounded your thoughts starts to fade. That is the impact of one small step. It shifts not only your circumstances, but your entire inner world. The unknown blessings waiting for you are not random treasures scattered across your life. They are carefully placed miracles aligned with your growth, your maturity, and your transformation. They become accessible only when you become the version of yourself capable of receiving them. Sometimes the blessing is not delayed because it is not ready. It is delayed because you are not ready. And readiness often begins with action, not certainty. You must understand something profound. The universe does not respond to intentions alone. It responds to movement. You can pray for clarity, but clarity often comes after you begin. You can pray for courage, but courage develops after you take a step, not before. You can pray for guidance, but guidance is revealed along the path, not at the starting point. This is why the step you are avoiding might be the one that transforms your life more than any dream you are waiting for. My brothers and sisters, there are blessings waiting for you that will make you cry out of gratitude. There are doors waiting for you that will make sense of every difficulty you ever went through. There are moments of peace waiting for you that will heal wounds you thought were permanent. But none of them are located where you are standing now. They live on the other side of your first step, the step you've been afraid to take, the step you've been postponing, the step that feels small but carries the weight of your future. And once you take that step, you will look back and realize that the unknown blessings were never far. They were simply waiting for your courage to unlock them. The silent transformations that begin the moment you finally move. My brothers and sisters, there is something extraordinary that happens inside you the moment you finally take the step you have been delaying. Something so deep and so quiet that most people never understand its power. The transformation does not begin when your life changes on the outside. It begins when your heart changes on the inside. That single step you choose to take, even if it is shaky, uncertain, imperfect, and small, becomes the spark that ignites an entire internal shift. A shift that slowly changes how you think, how you feel, how you speak, how you react, and how you see yourself. The truth is that the greatest battles you fight are not in your circumstances, but in your mindset. And the moment you take that step, your mindset begins to evolve in ways you could never imagine. You stop viewing yourself as someone who wishes for change and begin viewing yourself as someone who is capable of change. You stop believing that you are trapped by your past and start believing that your future is still wide open. You stop identifying with your weaknesses and begin exploring the strength you never knew existed inside you. This mental shift is subtle, but it is the foundation of every major transformation you will ever experience. When you move even a little, your heart begins to awaken from years of numbness and heaviness. The guilt that once suffocated you starts to loosen its grip. The regret that lived in your memory begins to fade. The shame that held you hostage starts losing its power. You begin to realize that you are not your mistakes, you are not your delays, you are not the person you were forced to be during difficult seasons of your life. You begin to rediscover the version of yourself that is brave, sincere, compassionate, disciplined, and capable of becoming far better than the person you were yesterday. This inner transformation affects your emotions as well. You start to feel lighter, not because your problems vanish, but because your heart no longer carries them alone. You begin to notice moments of calm where there was once constant anxiety, moments of clarity where there was once endless confusion, and moments of hope where there was once only fear. Your step becomes like a window that lets sunlight into a room that has been locked in darkness for far too long, and slowly, without you even realizing it, the shadows inside you begin to shrink. What makes this transformation even more profound is that it influences your behavior. You begin to show up differently for yourself, for your responsibilities, and for the people around you. You speak with more sincerity. You make decisions with more wisdom. You handle challenges with more patience. You avoid the spaces, habits, and conversations that drain your peace. You walk with more purpose, more self-respect, and more awareness of what truly matters. Your relationships improve because your presence improves. Your work improves because your focus improves. Your faith strengthens because your heart finally has room to breathe. And perhaps the most beautiful transformation of all is this: you begin to trust yourself again. For too long, you doubted your discipline, your strength, your ability to change, your consistency, your resilience, and your sincerity. You believed the lies your past whispered to you, lies that said you were weak or broken or incapable. But when you take that step, even a small one, you give yourself evidence that you can rise above the version of yourself you feared becoming. You prove to your heart that you are capable of growth, capable of rising, capable of reclaiming the person you were always meant to be. This is why the small step you take today carries a weight far greater than the step itself. It is not just a movement toward a new action, it is a movement toward a new identity. The inner transformations that begin inside you are silent, but they are powerful enough to rewrite the entire direction of your life. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that the moment everything began to change was not when your circumstances improved, but when you improved on the inside. And all of it started with that one small, courageous, sincere step you finally took. My brothers and sisters, the transformation you are praying for is not far. It is already unfolding within you the moment you decide to move. The life you deserve begins the moment you stop holding yourself back. My brothers and sisters, there is a life waiting for you, a life of clarity, steadiness, calmness, and direction. But many people never reach it because they keep standing at the doorway, refusing to walk through. They hold themselves back not because they are unprepared, but because they have convinced themselves that change is too difficult, too late, too painful, or too complicated. They keep telling themselves that they need more time, more motivation, more strength, or more signs, when in reality, the only thing they ever needed was the courage to stop holding themselves hostage to the version of themselves they no longer want to be. You may not realize it, but a huge part of your suffering comes from the gap between who you are right now and who you know you can become. When you live beneath your potential, your heart feels heavy. When you settle for habits or situations that drain you, your soul becomes restless. When you ignore the changes your spirit is begging you to make, your mind becomes cluttered and your emotions become unstable. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that you are misaligned with the person you were meant to grow into. But the moment you stop resisting the change, your heart keeps calling you toward, everything inside you begins to shift. You start to understand that the life you deserve, the one with peace in your chest, calmness in your thoughts, strength in your actions, and confidence in your decisions has always been available to you. It was simply waiting for you to choose it. Once you take that small step, you begin to feel the weight of years of hesitation lifting off your shoulders. You begin to breathe in a new way, not because your problems disappear, but because your relationship with them changes. You begin to realize that you were never weak. You were simply exhausted from carrying battles. You were never meant to fight alone. You were never incapable. You were simply overwhelmed by trying to change everything at once. You were never lost. You were simply disconnected from your own inner compass, the compass that becomes clearer every time you take a sincere step toward growth. And when you finally stop holding yourself back, something remarkable happens. Your life begins to respond to you in ways you never imagined. Doors open that were once shut. Paths appear that were once hidden. People arrive who help you grow. Opportunities come that align perfectly with your new direction. The world around you begins to shift because the world inside you has shifted. And you start to feel something you may not have felt in a long time. The feeling of being in motion, being alive, being connected to purpose rather than drifting through days without meaning. This is when you discover a truth that changes everything. The life you want is not waiting for the right moment, it is waiting for the real you. The version of you who is not afraid to take responsibility. The version of you who is not afraid to choose peace over chaos, discipline over comfort, sincerity over illusion, and growth over stagnation. This version of you is already inside you, patiently waiting for you to stop standing in your own way. And once you take that step, you will understand that what looked like fear was actually your breakthrough. What looked like difficulty was actually your elevation. What looked like loss was actually clearing space for something better. And what looked like a small step was actually the beginning of the life you deserve, a life where your heart finally feels at home, your mind finally feels clear, and your soul finally feels aligned with its purpose. My brothers and sisters, the life you dream of is not far away. It begins the moment you stop holding yourself back and finally allow yourself to rise. The universe shifts the moment you decide to rise. There comes a point in every soul's journey where the world around you begins to reflect the choices you make inside your heart. Most people don't realize this, but life does not change randomly, nor does ease arrive without reason. The universe shifts only when you shift. Your reality begins to transform only when you take responsibility for your path. And the moment you decide to rise sincerely, honestly, humbly, the world around you begins to rearrange itself in ways that support your growth. You will notice this in the smallest details first. The noise inside your mind starts to quiet. The confusion that once clouded every decision begins to fade. The emotions that felt tangled start organizing themselves into clarity. The fear that once controlled your choices slowly loses its authority. You begin to recognize what truly matters, and more importantly, what no longer deserves space in your life. This is the first sign that you are stepping into a higher version of yourself. As you continue moving forward, you will notice another shift. The people around you begin to change. Some will drift away, not because you are wrong or because they are cruel, but because growth demands a new environment. You cannot evolve while surrounded by voices that keep you small. You cannot rise while holding on to conversations, habits, or influences that drain your spiritual and emotional energy. The moment you rise, life will gently start removing those who cannot travel with you, not as a punishment, but as protection. It makes room for people who match your sincerity, your discipline, your direction, and your longing for a deeper purpose. But the most breathtaking shift happens inside your heart. You begin to trust yourself in ways you never have before. You start to believe that you are capable of change, capable of discipline, capable of becoming someone you can be proud of. You stop identifying with failure and start identifying with growth. You become more patient with yourself, more forgiving with your past, more present in your life, and more aware of the opportunities that once passed you by unnoticed. And slowly, something remarkable happens. You begin to attract blessings rather than chase them. You find that relief arrives more easily. Inspiration comes more naturally. Goodness reaches you without force. Doors open without you pushing them. Solutions appear without you begging for them. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. When your heart rises, your reality rises with it. When your intentions purify, your direction clarifies. When your actions become sincere, your path becomes blessed. This is why your small step matters so much. It is not about the action alone, but about the transformation it begins inside you. Your inner world is the engine of your destiny. The moment you change on the inside, everything on the outside begins to shift to match the new standard you set for yourself. You will notice your days feeling more meaningful, your nights feeling more peaceful, your relationships becoming healthier, your goals becoming clearer, and your faith becoming deeper. You begin to feel like life is finally flowing again, not because everything becomes easy, but because you have stopped swimming against yourself. My brothers and sisters, you were never meant to remain stuck at the chapter where you lost yourself. You were always meant to rise into the chapter where you rediscover who you truly are. And when you decide to rise sincerely, even with fear and doubt, the universe rearranges itself to lift you, guide you, support you, and unfold for you a path far more beautiful than the one you are leaving behind. Rise and watch how everything around you rises with you. The step you take today will rewrite the story you tell tomorrow. My brothers and sisters, there comes a time in every person's life when they look back and realize that their entire story changed because of one decision, one moment, one act of courage that seemed small at the time but carried the weight of an entire destiny. You may not see this now, but the step you choose to take today has the power to rewrite the story you will tell yourself years from now. It can become the moment that breaks a pattern you have been stuck in for far too long. The moment that frees you from cycles you thought were permanent. The moment that finally allows you to breathe without the heaviness that has lived inside your chest for years. You are standing right now at a crossroads between the life you have been surviving and the life you were meant to live. And the distance between those two lives is not as wide as you imagine. It is often just one step, a sincere step, a quiet step, a step that no one else may even notice, but one that shifts the direction of everything that comes after it. Your greatest transformations will rarely begin with dramatic moments. They begin with the soft decision inside your heart to stop carrying the pain of yesterday into the possibilities of tomorrow. The step you take today becomes the seed of your future. You may not see the results immediately, but every seed planted in sincerity begins its work quietly beneath the surface before it ever rises into the light. Your step is not wasted. Your effort is not ignored. Your intention is not forgotten. The growth happening inside you is invisible at first, but it is real, powerful, and capable of reshaping every part of your life. You will wake up one day and realize that the heaviness that once controlled you has loosened, that the confusion that once clouded you has cleared, that the pain you thought would last forever has softened. All because of a step you took long before you could see the results. This step will change the way you see yourself. Instead of defining yourself by your mistakes, you will begin defining yourself by your strength. Instead of remembering your failures, you will begin remembering your resilience. Instead of being controlled by fear, you will grow into a person guided by purpose. You will start viewing challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and delays as protection. You will look at yourself in the mirror and recognize someone who did not give up on their future or surrender to their old patterns, but someone who chose to rise even when rising felt impossible. This step will also change your relationship with everything around you. The burden that once made you impatient with others will soften. The confusion that once made you distant from loved ones will turn into clarity. The heaviness that once made you withdraw from the world will turn into confidence. Your presence will change. Your energy will change. Your priorities will change. And the people around you will feel the difference even if they cannot explain it. You will inspire without trying, uplift without speaking, and lead without forcing, because inner transformation always reflects outwardly in ways that words rarely capture. Most importantly, this step will change your relationship with your own soul. You will begin to understand that your heart is not your enemy, that your emotions are not flaws, that your struggles were not punishments, and that your delays were not failures. You will see clearly that everything that broke you was preparing you, everything that hurt you was shaping you, and everything you lost was clearing space for what you were destined to receive. The step you take today is not just about improvement. It is about alignment, aligning yourself with the person you were always meant to become. My brothers and sisters, your story is not finished. Your future is not ruined. Your path is not closed. You are not too late, too broken, too weak, or too far gone. You are one sincere decision away from a completely different life. A life where your heart feels light, your mind feels clear, your days feel meaningful, and your soul finally feels at peace with the direction it is moving. And when you take that step today, you are not just changing your life, you are rewriting the story, that future you will one day look back on with gratitude, relief, and pride. Take the step today because your tomorrow already depends on it. My brothers and sisters, as you reach the end of this reminder, I want you to pause for a moment and breathe. Not the kind of breath you take out of habit, but the kind of breath you take when you finally understand something important, something you should have realized a long time ago. You are not stuck. You are not hopeless. You are not too late to change your life. You are simply standing at the doorway of a new chapter, a chapter that has been waiting for you long before you ever believed you were worthy of it. All of these feelings you've been carrying, the heaviness, the restlessness, the confusion, the guilt, the desire to be better, they were never there to punish you. They were there to guide you. They were there to remind you that the life you've been longing for is not somewhere far away. It is one sincere step in front of you. And perhaps this entire message came to you today for a reason. Perhaps this was the sign you kept waiting for. Perhaps this was the push your heart needed. Perhaps this was the moment your future finally begins. So take that small step today, not tomorrow, not when things get better, not when you feel fully ready. Take it today, exactly as you are, with all your imperfections, fears, doubts, and hopes. Because sincerity matters more than perfection. Movement matters more than motivation. Courage matters more than certainty. And when you move even an inch toward goodness, help will come running toward you from directions you never imagined. May your path be filled with clarity. May your heart be filled with calm. May your days be filled with strength. And may this small step you choose today become the turning point that changes everything for you. A new chapter is waiting. Walk into it with courage,